Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The World Championship begins tomorrow, hosted by OpTic here in Dallas. This was the event that they were meant to win at the start of the season. When this all was confirmed, they won Major 3, they fell off at Major 4. Can they bounce back this time around? Kenny says their team is feeling better, they're feeling in a promising position, but the process episode somewhat implied otherwise. There are a few instances which definitely indicated things behind the scenes aren't all sunshine and rainbows, but has that changed over the last couple of weeks going into the biggest tournament of the year? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, happy birthday to Karma. Still, at least as of recording this video, no updates on whether Accuracy is actually getting involved or not with this team, right? I honestly thought in the process episode they would say something on either formal, maybe what his future's going to be from Halo. I thought they might mention that. I thought they might mention at the ends if Accuracy was going to be with the team. They might do a little bit of a teaser for that. I don't really know. Karma obviously is the head coach. JP is the other coach over there. There were rumours that Accuracy was getting involved in the team. He was spotted in a Discord chat with those guys. Maybe that was a brief consultancy arrangement. Accuracy, though, does live, I think, in Dallas, so he's more than likely going to be at the event. So I guess if they need him, they can feel free to use him. But, you know, happy birthday to Karma. I thought it was kind of nice to see here from his wife, of course, Holly. But Media Day we saw yesterday, some shots going down the Los Angeles Thieves guys. These boys, of course, will play the Toronto Ultra in the very first round of the tournament. Whether they can win, that is another question. Obviously, it's going to be a challenge for them. They've only won a single series so far this year against a top 4 opposition. That was against the Subliners when they reverse swept them in the Major 4 qualifiers, which was very impressive, given that Subliners went on to win the tournament. But again, on LAN, big crowd, big stage, big pressure. I'm not sure Thieves are going to have what it takes, but we shall see. They're going to probably be rather well drilled. OpTic, though, you know, they're no strangers to the pressure here. There was some Media Day shots going down. Here's Ken, here's Shotzzy, you know, just chilling out for the time being while they go through all the stuff. And a couple of other cool pictures as well. I know people were reading as well into this one, just saying that the boys don't look especially happy, do they? But I don't really know if there's much in this, because the guys that are doing the production here, they'll tell the guys, you know, what to look like, you know, look serious, you know, lock in, and then they might get them to do a more fun one or whatever. You guys know how it goes. But, you know, Shotzzy, Kenny, Pred, I don't look especially happy to be there, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of the way they're going to perform this weekend. They're going to need a big weekend. They're going to need a big weekend, especially from these two guys. Pred is probably the one most under the spotlight, really, just because, you know, Dashy's been good this season, Shotzy's been good this season. Kenny, I think, yes, he didn't have the greatest Major 4, but in terms of impact and everything like that, I wouldn't get rid of Kenny personally. And it wasn't long ago that, you know, the majority of OpTic fans were giving Kenny just so much gas for what they achieved at Major 3. Now it's obviously a bit of a different story, but, you know, you look around the league, it's not clear where the upgrades come from for OpTic, obviously. There's the likes of Scrappy, and there's obviously one of the FaZe guys if you can do that, but that's probably not going to happen. So then, you know, what people have looked at obviously is the HyDra thing, right? And this is why Pred is, at least one of the reasons why Pred is somewhat under the spotlight a bit more, is just because, you know, HyDra's out there, MVP of the last event, a player that was meant to join OpTic a couple of years ago, but it fell through because they ran it back and all this stuff. So, you know, obviously the pressure's on. The pressure's always on for OpTic, right? Especially at a tournament like this. Home crowd, okay, they always have a home crowd, but they're here in Dallas. It is their home tournament. It's not at the Esports Stadium Arlington. It's obviously up at Allen, heading there in a couple of hours' time to see, at least as a recording, what exactly is going on today at the venue. And the OpTic guys, I thought, put together a pretty fire video about this, right? So, you know, the preparation is clearly going to be there. The issue is whether the prep is going to be good enough to bounce them back from where they were. Momentum is a big thing in Call of Duty. They were hoping that after their difficult run of the Major 4 qualifiers, they could bounce back to at least make something of a run in the losers bracket. That never happens. So to go from 1st to 12th, to try and go back to 1st again, would be, you know, honestly, like such an unprecedented accomplishment that it does seem very, very unlikely because, you know, let's say they've had 2 weeks of good practice here since Major 4, but they were starting from a position of playing not the best Call of Duty in the world, whereas the other teams that had that 2 weeks of practice the same and also were putting in lots of effort, they were playing good COD at the time, and OpTic most certainly were not. But, you know, OpTic are going to try their best to turn it around. What we've got to talk about, though, is some of these clips from the process episode. So I wanted to share a few of these, really, where they were, well, either discussing directly as a team or certainly implications as to things not going so well. Now, this process episode surprised me in a couple of ways. As I said earlier in the Karma stuff, I was kind of surprised that they didn't say anything at the end of the video about something else happening. I thought there'd be a little bit more than what they did. I thought the episode, as always, was beautifully produced. I love the music, I love everything in the background and everything and all this type of stuff. But at the end of the episode, I thought they might finish on a slightly lighter note. I mean, if you guys watch the process, it ends 20 minutes in with them basically having an argument and being sad about them losing. I thought they might have a few extra minutes to say, okay, look, we got back from the tournament, it wasn't great, but we're regaining, we're bringing the energy going into champs, like a bit more optimism, right, to give the fan base a bit of belief that they're going to do this. But instead, the episode was basically just 20 minutes of being depressing for OpTic fans, is the way that I read into it. But so I was a little bit surprised by that. But it was definitely interesting to see lots of the happenings there behind the scenes during Major 4. The run up to Major 4, some of the words from Kenny to the team. We've heard this before earlier in the season, and Kenny will absolutely say it how it is and keep everyone to account as much as he possibly can. And even at the end of the episode, there was an interesting clip where, Kenny was talking and clearly getting animated with the decision-making of his teammates, and Prid was the one who was kind of like clapping back at him. And obviously that should be and can be healthy discussion in the team, but it does, fuel the fire a little bit of the speculation that if there's anything that's going on in the team, it's probably Prid and Kenny that maybe aren't seeing eye to eye the most. So, let me play a few clips.
Single word to me, and I'm in boxes, by the way, and y'all didn't say a single word to me. I'm telling you, like, even the garage control, like, I don't even know what to say, like, it's a joke, like at this point, doing to me, because I'm trying to just make the most ideal play every time with garage control, and I am getting old. It's so criminal. It's actually, like, I don't know, and I swear, like, I be calling out people on DM. Or not, I don't know.
Holy fuck, man. We just super fucking.
And then, like, even. Like, I don't know what to say at this point. We don't fucking learn. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. That's as real as it gets. We starting losers because we don't fucking learn. On the map, uses of the play. Regardless if Major is here or not, it should be whoever's all spawned, both are useless.
What the fuck is going on?
Can you eat my fucking hot dog?
Man, the Call of Duty team is going through what they always fucking go through, right? Like, we'll win an event, and they'll continue to work as hard as they do. They'll continue to be in practice as much as they do. They continue to do the same exact content as they do. They literally, if you were to write down a schedule of what they do on a day-to-day basis, you will see that prior to us winning the major, call it a month, every single day looked exactly the same as it does post winning the major. For anybody to talk about them being lazy or content being the issue, you don't know shit.
We had a good idea to like do some team bonding things of like going on a hike or something, and like I was super down because I've obviously been on my little fitness journey, so like that was super fun. I enjoyed every moment of it because of the fact that like you don't get to do these certain things a lot of times with your teammates. It was kind of like stress, kind of like leaving your body of like, these are my boys, this is like who I like to hang with, this is my crew. I kind of just cheated. Yeah, I kind of just cheated.
I play like for basketball every week, so like for nothing. But I thought it was a good idea.
Me, how? Like, if you, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. No, if I'm the guy going right and getting the info from top blue, how am I jumping out of blue past y'all to beat on? That's impossible. It's actually remotely impossible.
Where did it end? Did it end on the
I don't know, but it doesn't matter where Ant dies if we're going to beat on.
Hex's perspective was interesting as well, right? I don't think he's wrong at all. I mean, as he talks about the content stuff, it always gets talked about, right? Like, if OpTic don't do well at the tournament, the immediate implication is, oh, they're making too much content, they're playing too many other games or whatever. But as he says, that was no different going into Major 3, going into Major 4, but of course the results were very different. So it's not exactly like that strategy and the OpTic kind of method and approach doesn't work, but it's more like things obviously change from a mentality perspective. Like, the days can look the same. You can turn up and you can scrim from X hour to Y hour. You can watch VOD from 7 to 8 p.m. You can go for the same team dinner. You can do the same content with the boys or whatever. But if you're not making the most of that time as you were before Major 3, and if the team's mentality isn't in the same spot, then sure, you can have the same calendar, but that doesn't necessarily imply the same results, right? Obviously, the team knows this, and they've been there before, and they will be there again. More than likely, as Hex says, right, like, this is a pretty consistent trend now with the OpTic team over the last few years, but, you know, he doesn't think there's potentially too much in it. He's just like, look, they've got to lock back in from a mentality point of view. The other thing that I thought was interesting was the hike that they did, right? So Kenny talked about going on this hike, and they went with JP and with Karma, and of course with Dashy went as well. But there was no Shotzzy or Pred, and they might have been doing other stuff. So I don't want to speculate really too much on this. But, you know, Kenny's talking about it as a bit of a team-building exercise. And obviously, Shotzzy's a fit guy, right? Like, no doubt about that. He goes for runs and all this type of stuff. Pred seems like pretty in-shape guy as well. So, you know, maybe there were other engagements, they couldn't make it or something. But it was interesting, wasn't it, right? The whole hike thing. You'd have thought that if the team was, like, fully on the same page and fully on board with each other, they'd have all gone on the hike, especially because they were all there together anyway. So, and maybe they were feeling unwell or something, right? It's difficult to speculate, but they put it in the episode, so obviously people are going to talk about it, so I thought I might as well talk about it as well. But Kenny does follow up with this last night. Champs time, he says, team is feeling great, can't wait to see you guys there. And this is always the point, right? Going into the first event of the season, you always have something of an idea how the teams are doing, because, you know, you'll see early scrims, there'll be scrim bucks leaked about, there'll be talks from certain players, who's looking good, who's looking bad. For Champs, you never really tend to get that, right? Because everyone's keeping things super under wraps for the World Championship. No one wants to leak a single thing about how they might be getting on, how some of their, you know, other rivals are potentially getting on. So the reality is we have no real idea how OpTic have fared for the last couple of weeks in their practice and in their preparation. But Kenny says it's looking good. Now, this is a bit of a change of tune from Kenny in some respects. Not a change of tune, but his most recent tweets that he then deleted a lot of over the last few weeks when they were playing poorly was like, yeah, it ain't looking good, boys. Kind of frustrated about his certain teammate decisions and all this. A lot of those were then deleted as a result. But now Kenny's having a much more positive attitude here on the timeline. So whether you think that's kind of the team has said, look, Kenny, you know, let's be positive going into the event and talk about this, or whether this is actually true that the team does feel in a much better spot going to the big one. But of course, it ain't going to be easy. Subliners are going in. I wouldn't say they're the favourites, but, you know, I think they're certainly the second favourites behind FaZe for this tournament. FaZe are always going to be favourites as the number one seed, and, you know, apart from the grand finals of the last major, they didn't lose a single map until they got there. That's the thing with FaZe. They're always the favourites because they're basically guaranteed to be in finals, but their chances to win the finals are like 35-40%. But the issue is for other teams is they're not guaranteed to be in finals. So in terms of like average chances to win, it's probably going to be FaZe. But whoever actually plays them in the finals will, of course, feel very confident. That may be the Subliners. And if New York actually go back-to-back this year, that would be incredibly commendable. And they would become the first ever organisation in the history of competitive Call of Duty to go back-to-back World Championships. Players have done it, but no organisation has ever done it. And, I mean, that would be incredible. And actually, Octane has it happening. He put together his bracket for this. He has, well, I mean, we can see some of the results here. Ultra taking out OpTic to, pretty much he's got the favourites, of course, making it through. OpTic eventually taking down Miami in the losers bracket. Subliners, of course, coming through losers as well. But what he's got is FaZe making the run through winners, Ultra making the run through the other side of the winners bracket, OpTic and Subliners facing off, OpTic getting 4th, Ultra getting 3rd, and then New York beating FaZe in an 8 map, of course it's a best of 9 grand finals, to go back to back, which would be kind of impressive. And genuinely, I don't think that's an especially bad prediction, right? I think you've got to keep a close eye on Subliners. I mean, they literally did win the previous event. How far can OpTic go? The thing for OpTic is that anything but a grand finals appearance, you probably got to consider making a change, right? Because of where they were, considering what the expectations are. You know, 4th is not good enough. 3rd is not, I mean, you've got to win, right? Like, obviously you want to win. Last year, the team that won made a change in the Subliners. So, you know, I think that's a question on, we talked about it earlier in the season, right? Let's say with Major 1, when OpTic were kind of struggling going in, there was a question, what's an acceptable result for OpTic? And the feeling was, okay, you know, top 4, top 3, that'll be fine. They can push on from there. But at Champs, there isn't really such thing as an acceptable result. It's win or bust in many respects. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.